So, how do you really prove you're a great engineer? I mean, a single cool project? That's one thing. But what if you wanted to prove your entire philosophy? How you think, how you build, and how you ship? Well, that's what we're going to dive into today. This absolutely massive ecosystem of projects that was designed to do exactly that. And this quote right here, this is the core idea. The whole goal wasn't just to show off one skill, like, hey, I can build a web app. Nope. It was to prove something so much deeper. The discipline and the thinking behind it all, the stuff you need to keep quality high when you're working at a huge scale. It's really the difference between a single snapshot and a full-on movie of your capabilities. And the scale of that movie? 60. That's right, 60 different projects. And you gotta understand, that number is not random. When you have a number that big, it forces you to solve problems you would just never encounter on a single project. We're talking about consistency, automation, and real long-term vision. So yeah, this isn't just a portfolio, it's a total stress test. Okay, so how in the world do you even start to organize 60 projects? Well, this isn't just some random pile of code. It's a really carefully structured system, and it's designed to prove both range and depth. Let's pop the hood and take a look inside. What's so cool here is the balance. You can see it right away. It's not just one type of project. There's a big focus on web apps and starter projects for sure, but also a really solid number of games and developer tools. And this is totally intentional. Each slice of this pie is meant to tell a different story about a very specific engineering skill. This table just lays out the why behind each category perfectly. It's not just about building for the sake of building. It's about proving something specific. You want to show you can handle complicated logic and state management? Fine, build 10 games. You need to prove you can design incredible user experiences? 16 web apps ought to do it. Every single category, from dev tools to starter projects, is a calculated move to show off a different side of engineering. But here's the real twist. The projects themselves, they're not the main story. The real story is the methods used to build them. So now we're going to look at 5 different engineering personas, or stories, if you will, that were used to make sure the quality and consistency stayed high across the whole system. All right, so let's meet the team. We're about to explore 5 totally distinct engineering mindsets. We've got the test-driven architect, the UX perfectionist, the back-end system scaler, the continuous learner who's always improving, and of course, the full-stack product owner who has to manage this whole shebang. First up, the TDD architect. The philosophy here is simple, but it's so powerful. No feature gets built until a test for it is written, and that test fails. This forces a really strict red-green refactor cycle. You write a failing test, you make it pass, and then you clean up the code. With a super high standard for test coverage, this safety-first mindset means that adding project number 60 won't ever accidentally break project number 1. Next, we have the high-fidelity UX engineer. This is all about closing that gap between it works and, wow, this feels amazing. And the proof is right there in how it was built. Using sophisticated animation libraries, creating reusable UI components, and making accessibility a priority from day one. It's all about making sure the experience is great for absolutely everyone. Behind every great front end is a rock-solid back end, and that's the job of the system scaler. To support 60 projects, the focus had to be on data and security. This was proven by doing things like optimizing database queries to keep everything snappy, and hardening every single API with security measures like JWT validation and rate limiting to stop any funny business. Building 60 projects is, well, the ultimate learning exercise, right? And this persona proves that growth. The evidence is literally right there in the code. You can actually see the architectural patterns evolving over time, from simpler React apps to more advanced Next.js setups. It's all about getting a little smarter with every single build. And finally, the full-stack product owner. This is the mindset that looks at all 60 repositories and sees them as one single cohesive product line. And the proof here is in the management. Things like standardized hygiene, clear readmes on every single project, the flexibility to jump between different languages and platforms, and just a relentless focus on getting things delivered. An idea is just an idea until it's live, right? The final ultimate proof of any engineering system is whether it actually ships. So let's see how this whole ecosystem holds up out there in the real world. And this is where the proof gets really serious. I mean, just look at this. The 8 main portfolio projects, and each one is deployed to multiple major cloud providers. This is so hard to pull off. It proves a real mastery of different deployment pipelines, from AWS and Azure all the way to Vercel. It's the ultimate proof of flexibility and robustness. Now, if we zoom out to the whole ecosystem, the numbers are just as strong. 100% of the games, tools, and starter projects are live. And I have to say, I really appreciate the transparency here, showing that half the web apps are also deployed, with the rest basically ready to go. This is what a healthy, active, and pretty much complete system looks like. So, what does this all add up to? Well, we can call it a systematic demonstration. This isn't about just picking out your best work and showing it off. It's about presenting this whole cohesive, governed, and consistently executed body of work that tells a much, much bigger story. All right, let's zoom all the way out and look at the big picture. Why go through all this trouble? Why does this whole approach even matter? So what have we learned here? I think it's that a system tells a much more powerful story than a single snapshot. It's that a philosophy is really proven by relentless execution. It shows that true discipline is what lets you scale, and that real quality comes from consistent action. And finally, that real ownership means seeing a project all the way through, from the very first line of code to the final deployment. At the end of the day, it really just boils down to this: an ecosystem of 60 projects built with 5 distinct methodologies and deployed across multiple clouds. It sends one crystal clear message: this is a developer who takes shipping seriously. And that leaves us with one final thought, a question for you, really. If a single project is just one photo, what kind of system, what kind of body of work are you building to tell your entire professional story? Because in the end, that's what this is really all about. It's making a definitive statement, one that says, this isn't just something I did once. This is how I think, this is how I build, and this is how I ship. Every single time.